Hello and welcome back to my channel, friends. Today I wanted to come on here and give you some tips. If you are thinking on moving out of state, I've got a few tips I want to share with you, so stay tuned. Hello, welcome back, friends. Today I'm giving you 10 tips when you're thinking of moving out of state. So when it comes to moving out of state, there's basically two types of people. Those who just wing it, and then those who prefer to avoid unnecessary problems and stress. Well, congratulations. If you are watching this video, you probably fit in the second category. When you're dealing on moving out of state, you need to control your own destiny, and winging it's not always the best bet. So you basically want to prepare for this in advance, and I know it's a lot of effort and time, but in the end, it's a less hassle. So let's face it, no one really likes to be involved in the moving process, but if you're willing to take the time, do the research, manage the details, you're much more likely to have a smooth move and begin a fantastic new life on a positive note. So to help you do that exactly, I put together a to-do list on some tips that I want to share with you on things you might want to know before you move out of state. So number one, research your new city. So basically, if you're planning on taking a trip there, that would be ideal. There's other ways to do that, maybe a weekend trip. You want to go and explore, take walks in that particular neighborhood that you'd like to live in, or long bike rides. Why not even try like a pub or an eatery in that area to, look at that experience and see what that feels like for you. Another tip is researching schools if you have children. There's websites like greatschools.org. They'll give you a lot of information, basically show you the route on how to get there, how far the schools are, the travel times. The other one is Google Maps. If you want to find out like your local hospitals or shops and restaurants, etc., that's definitely a good way. Also, if you're doing this from at home, you can also use the Google Street View to explore neighborhoods and do that type of research. You can also research the crime rates in that neighborhood through Google as well, and so many other applications. Another option is to stay in temporary housing, possibly with a friend or family. If you have that option, do you? And you can always store your stuff like in a portable storage or a pod, etc. So number two, check out the cost of living and the differences. It's important to know how much more or less your new life will cost when you're moving out of state. You can also use a cost of living calculator to check out differences in housing, transportation, food, clothing, etc. Remember to check on state taxes as well. That's really important to know your state's income tax rate. If you run a business, for example, you want to do some research on that, such as payroll taxes, business licenses, etc. The less blindsided you are about the cost of living differences in taxes, the more you can properly budget for the relocating to another state. Number three, figure out your moving and storage options. That's really important. Moving all your stuff will most likely be the biggest expense and the most difficult aspect of moving out of state. So planning ahead will make this part of relocating much more easier. Here are a few options though I want to share with you for moving and storage out of state. So you might want to hire professional movers to load and drive your moving truck, rent your own moving truck, or bribe a couple of friends and family to help you load, or basically hire local movers as well for loading and unloading. You also want to use a portable container for packing and moving storage, an affordable option compared to both movers and rental trucks, and the most flexible, especially if you're moving in stages and using temporary housing. You also have the option of hiring local movers to help with the packing or loading part. That's also very helpful. You'll need to consider both your budget and personal moving needs and preferences when choosing and storage options as well. Moving costs can quickly spiral out of control, so especially when you're going with the professional movers. So here are questions to ask yourself when planning moving out of state. What is my budget? Do I want to contact less to reduce the risk of the spread of COVID-19 or other viruses? Do I feel comfortable driving a big truck long distance? Am I going to need to store stuff in my old city or new city? Do I want to load and unload at my own leisure or have someone else drive the truck? How much time do you have to move to one place to another? How much stuff are you moving? So those are a couple of things that you want to consider. The less stuff you have to move, the more budget friendly it'll be. Here's a pro tip for you though. If you're relocating for a job, ask your employer if they cover relocation expenses. You'd be surprised, some employers do cover relocation expenses. Here we go with number 4. Set aside extra extra money for moving expenses. Speaking of like budgets, moving into a new state can cost money, obviously. So you want to make sure you have some savings for unexpected expenses. Here are a few moving expenses that you might think about that you haven't thought about already. For example, gas. You want to find out, you have a budget for gas, put that aside. Packing supplies like bubble wrap, boxes, boxing tape, all of that can add up pretty quick. So you want to set aside a budget for that as well. Maybe hotel rooms or meals when you're out of state or traveling there. Possibly utility deposits or connection fees. Other items would be like your products at home, your most important items like your shower curtains, your hand towels, your bath mats, cleaning supplies, groceries, etc. Number 5, powering up utilities. That's the last thing you want, is to move into another state, show up, and then you don't have utilities. So you want to make sure you pre-plan for that as well. So you want to take the time before you move to set up utilities such as water, sewer, power, garbage pickup. Internet access is very important. After a long day of unpacking, you want to have all the comfort of your home as possible. You should also consider packing necessities. You'll need at least a few days to pack those necessities such as paper toilet, paper towels, toothbrush, towel, non-perishable snacks that you're going to need on the way. So number 6, figure out your health care. That's really important. So you want to pre-plan, make sure your current health care will allow you to transfer all that information over, your new policies, get all that out of the way. Your prescriptions, for example, that's very important. I would probably get a 90-day supply of prescription while you're settling in to the new state. If you're self-employed, you'll need to report the move to your health insurance, your marketplace, into that new state as well. You can often find health insurance agent also to assist you with that process. Also, take the time to call your current doctor's office and get copies of all your medical records, all the prescriptions, or plan to go in person and pick up all those records yourself. Number 7, change your driver's license and vehicle registration. That is very important. One of the first things you'll want to do when moving out of state is get a new driver's license and a vehicle registration. Each state has different rules for how quickly you'll need to change this information. It can range anywhere from maybe 10 to 30 days. So I highly recommend making an appointment with the local Department of Motor Vehicles and taking care of that in advance, because the last thing you want is to stand in these horrendous lines at the DMV. No one wants to do that. So be sure that you check their website and see what documents are required in advance so that you don't have to make 2 trips. Most of the time they'll require items like a U.S. citizen, proof of citizenship, I should say, maybe a passport, Social Security, W-2 forms, etc. You can find that out on their local DMV's website. Another item is don't forget to change the address on your auto insurance policy. It may end up costing you less in that particular state, fingers crossed, depending on where you move. Okay, number 8, update your address. So you want to update all your address information at your local postal service in that particular state. In the meantime, you can also do that if you don't want to go in person to the local post office. You can do that actually online at your local post office website. You'll also want to share your new address with friends and family members as well, so they know where to find you. And number 9 here, we have your pets. You gotta register them in that new state, so don't forget to get your pets registered. And lastly, number 10, register to vote in your new state. Well, I hope these tips really helped you out. While moving out can be a very stressful process, remember to enjoy the process. Soon you will be living in a new home, making new friends, and exploring a new world. Friends, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button. Appreciate you watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.